Hey everyone, this is Mr. Hughes going through and going to take a look at some guided practice models for today's e-learning, just to kind of refresh your memory on geometric constraints, extrusions, and then do a little bit with the revolve and sweep. So the first guided practice, let's go up here to create. So I'm in my on-shape, workspace, and I'm going to create a new folder. So we'll call this one e-learning, and we'll call this advanced modeling features, and say create. Inside the folder, we'll click inside there, and then we'll go to create and new document, and this one here we'll call guided practice 1, and I'm going to say OK. So this will load the workspace. While that's happening, this is guided practice 1, 2, and 3. We're going to focus on, in this video, guided practice 1, and while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and split screen with this and with Onshape, and so that way we can kind of see what's going on and keep this in here. I'm going to zoom in, just so that way we can kind of see the sketch is really what we're looking for. So I'm going to zoom in here just so that way we can see that a little bit clearer as we go on. Alright, so in Onshape, first thing we want to do is all these dimensions are in the relationships. We want to go ahead and go to the 3 lines next to the Onshape logo and choose workspace units. Go ahead and change that over into millimeters, because all these models we're going to go with are going to be in millimeters. So we'll get used to changing the units here. Hit the green check mark to change the units. And then I'm going to click the sketch option and choose the front work plane. Now, again, we may want to hide the top work plane, the front work plane, and the right work plane, so that way we can just see the sketch. And I'm on the view cube, click on there to start it. So the thing is when I start looking at this particular sketch and trying to get that in here, is there's going to be a lot of geometric constraints that we're going to end up utilizing in order to make that happen. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with first. You guys, if you have this in full screen, you'll see your center point circle that will show up. But here, since my screen's condensed, that's what we're going to go with. So I'm going to select the origin as the center point. I'm going to click to set the circle. Now, the big circle there in the middle for the hole is going to be a diameter of 120. So if I go through and just type 120, Onshape actually gives me an option to type in the dimensional values as I go along. I'm going to go ahead and choose the origin again, draw another circle, and here the larger one on the outside over here in the PowerPoint has a radius of 140. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to click to set that circle, but I'm going to go and do 140 times 2, since that's the radius, to give us the full diameter. So that's going to be the outside diameter we have there. So you can kind of see how big we're going to be making this shape a little bit as we go along. Alright, one thing that we may want to have is you're going to see they have some construction lines built into this. I'm only going to put in one construction line because I want to show you a few of the tools. So I'm going to choose line, and then keep it in line with the origin. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click, draw a line, keeping it nice and vertical. And then I'm going to escape the line command, select the line, right click, and choose construction from the listing. So it's going to give you a dashed line to make it a construction line. Okay, the other thing is too, is the way this is set up is that we have 2 center points which have some rounded features, which we're going to use circles. We're going to use some combination of geometric constraints and trimming to be able to go through and to kind of make that happen. So I'm going to end up, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my center point circle, and I'm going to go ahead and set up 2 circles on either side of the main 2 that we have right in the center. Some things that I may want to do under my geometric constraints, I want to go ahead and do a horizontal constraint. So between the center of each circle to the origin. So I'll click on the center of this one to that one. Click on the center of this one to the center of the origin. And I'm going to escape that horizontal constraint. I'm going to set up a equal constraint. Choose this circle, choose the other one. They're going to be the same size. And then what I'm going to do as well is set up this 550. Now, in order to make sure that this 550 is assuming that there's some symmetry, that it's the same amount on each side. So I'm going to do this real quick. I hit the drop down, I'm going to go down to symmetric. I'm going to choose the center of this circle, choose the center of the next circle, and then I'm going to choose the construction line that's right in the middle. And you'll see that you saw a little shift there in my circles. So that's going to go through and make sure that these guys are going to stay there. Okay, dimension. I can then click on the center of each circle and then go ahead, and this is going to end up being 550, and then that'll move them a little bit closer together. The outside diameter here, so that's a radius of 100, and that means it's going to be a radius of 200 millimeters. So when I change that, you'll be able to see that there. So my circles were drawn really large when I was doing that. Okay, so one thing I'll go ahead and do is, as we go ahead, just to kind of show you to build out this part, I'm going to go ahead and click on line. From the top, I'm going to kind of hover over the center point. From the top of this circle, I'm going to connect over to this one. I'm going to use the L key to continue to run the command. And when you see you start to get an enclosed shape, it will go through and actually shade that in. So I want to make sure that my line stays horizontal as I go from the edge of the circle to there as well. And when I do that, so when I have that over there, it automatically ends up putting some tangents. If these lines are blue, you can always go through, go to your geometric constraints, choose tangent, choose this line, and choose this circle. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of cleanup. So in order to get this done, I'm going to hit the drop down, I'm going to choose trim, or you'll find the pair of scissors there on your icon. I'm going to go ahead and trim away this side. I'm going to trim away this inside circle. I'm going to try to trim away this. I'm going to trim away this. So that way that kind of gives us somewhat of an outline. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit escape. We're getting really close. Same kind of thing though. I'm going to go ahead and, as we did before, I have two outer circles that I'm going to end up on the outside edges. Center point circle. Kind of line these up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out a little bit past, so that way they're a little bit easy to see and they don't constrain to anything else. Okay, same kind of scenario. I'm going to go up to my geometric constraints, horizontal. Horizontal with this is going to line up with this one, and the horizontal on this circle is going to line up with this. Equal constraint on these two circles are going to be the exact same, and then that symmetric constraint. So choosing the centers of the two circles, and then choosing that center construction line. Okay, now I can go ahead and run my dimension tool and press the D key. Choose the center, there we go, of each one. This one down here is going to be 750. So that's going to bring them close together. And then the outside on these, the radius is going to be 50. So which means that this will be a diameter of 100. So I'm going to kind of make those a little bit smaller. Okay, same kind of thing here is I'm going to utilize the trim command, trim the insides of the circle and even these little segments here. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Z there for a second. This little section, we'll see, you notice it kind of went a little red on us. So we're going to see how this works. I'm going to get the insides of this one. I think with the center point of the circle in there, it's going to be kind of hard to kind of trim some of those things away, but that's okay. And then from here, all I'm going to do is do center point circle. These are going to be diameter of 50 as I put those in. And I'll just choose the center points and I don't have to worry about setting up anything like that. Now, what I may want to do is let's see if we can try to do this without trimming away. It looks like it's still going to give us some red lines. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Z. So red lines are bad as we're trying to model this. Everything else is black. Let's go ahead and finish the sketch. Let's see how this extrudes. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and go to isometric. I like to put it in the isometric view. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the extrude button. I'm going to choose the shape. Now it is going to go through and pick up, looks like, that part. So I may have to zoom in here, choose this outer part. There we go. That's going to work well. And then the same thing on the other side. And it says in our instructions we're going to extrude this to a depth of 40 millimeters. If I click out of there, I can see the preview as it builds out. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK or hit the green check mark. So this finishes out our shape, our for the guided practice. A little bit of just some reminder of geometric constraints and how they're going to be used. So again, you're going to need to use some geometric constraints to build some of your parts for your e-learning assignment. So check out the second video to go through the second object and utilizing a revolve.